So hopefully you can in fact see the front screen. I suspect you can because Ben just read it out. We are here to talk about Captur. We have hinted at this thing in previous webinars. A few people out there have seen some of it, but we're going to start formalizing some of that stuff a little more. We are actually going to just poke around the edges of some of the things that we're doing and can do, and ideas that we've had with Folder as well. As with any of the WebExes or webinars, whatever they're called, I'm not sure the correct language, we will be potentially referring to things that we have covered before and content we've covered before, simply because we've done so much of this stuff over the time that we build upon it. So do ask for links, do reach out to the guys in Select Tech for previous content, or better still, ask them to have an hour on a WebEx yourself or a call and go through what we're doing and where we are. I'm going to start, Ben, with the how many items on Damien's agenda roulette.
Oh,
thing.
brilliant! Right, we've got down to 3 recently. So how much lower can you go?
I'm actually thinking that I might change my whole agenda to what, but not what as in the question, just what as in confused face. I don't know. Anyway, let's just go with it. Today we are on 3, but I've subcategorized nice. What? Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Okay. Guys, always start with why, and I'm using the same details because you know what? We keep looking at the same, I keep looking at the market, keep looking at what's going on, keep looking at trends. And you know what? The story is remaining the same. And I am still coming as a bias from managed print resale, hardware sales, that kind of piece, certainly around print and managed print services. That's a lot of our background. And as you guys know, we are really known, or majority of you have started at least engaging with us from a paper cut perspective, and so we do tend to bring our ideas to market from that direction. And we're all in the same boat. We're all working on the same thing. And I have been using this slide, hoping that it will stop being accurate at some point, but it isn't. So I'm not going to dwell on it. It's in all of our presentations for a long period of time. Driven by the plague or whatever we're calling it now, there is a significant switch away from just straight printed pages. This data is available anywhere. Talk to the guys. This was a particular report, was actually kind of nice. I've talked about it endlessly. I'm going to stop talking about it now. There we go. But I am going to talk to you about Folder again. Guys, there are a bunch of WebExes. There's a bunch of recordings, blogs, content. Sales guys are willing to take you through it from scratch. I have admitted previously that it took us a couple of years, I think, to get our head around what Folder could be. We made the terminal error, I think, because, like, to be honest, of bringing it to market and not doing a great job of that, understanding at the instance, because it was a much more IT-centric product than we had pitched. Now, the great news is we've done an awful lot of work, and Folder have done even more work on what we've come up with to understand it commercially, understand it technically, and change the functionality of it. And so I think I even broke my cardinal rule, Ben, and put a link on LinkedIn.
Did you now?
I did, twice.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Well, it took me a while to. I wrote on the screen in Sharpie marker and it didn't go anyway. So we have covered what Folder is in its own right. It is remarkable. It is one of our unicorns, and we're very, very proud of what it can do. And what it can do in the main, if we really simplify it, is allow you to find documents just about anywhere. If you haven't seen the content, I don't really have time to dwell now on what this is, but any type of file in any type of storage, pretty much utilizing all the big guys as well. So it can be like your on-premise storage, your old Windows servers, anything from Microsoft with OneDrive and Teams and 365 and all that chisel. Some Google stirred in. You could even mix in some Amazon if you really wanted to bake it up. You could throw in some Dropbox. You could go to old web dev locations. You could find just about anything anywhere. You can share it to anyone, anywhere, and you can secure it in any way that you want. So it kind of does a lot in a lot of places for a lot of people. So it's kind of cool. But I want to go off piece from the general target agenda of this for a minute, Ben. Is that all right? Add a little
Absolutely.
Bit of last minute?
I mean, let's go black run on this one. Let's go completely off piece.
If we had a drum roll, we could go with this, because I was thinking, all right, okay.
Dangerous.
Folder is in your pocket. Do you like that? That's good, isn't it?
That's very good. I like that.
Right, Folder is in your pocket. And I was sat there thinking about our friend paper. Yeah. It's been around for a while. You know, the Gutenberg guy kicked off a load of book stuff with it. People read, apparently it's a thing. I don't know. So I was thinking, well, what's cool with paper, right? Okay. And I came down to these things is, well, you can scribble on it. Okay. And you can file it. You can duplicate it. You can share it. You know, I couldn't think of a good drawing for sharing, so I drew a paper airplane because I
Like
figured
it.
just
Yeah,
sending
no,
it like
simple,
that. You get what I
effective.
get. And it's in your jeans pocket. Now, we just covered this. Yeah, it's in your trouser pocket. You can fold up paper and put it in your pocket. So the problem with digital files is that piece of, it's great that I can move it around. And if I'm not printing stuff, I can still, you know, I can transform my digital processes and all of that good stuff. But the problem is I kind of want to be able to scribble on it and put it in my jeans pocket and send it to people and, you know, and share it, right? So then I thought, well, hold on a minute. What about this? Okay. Ooh, you like this? Okay, so this is just an idea, guys. It's something that we're actually playing with a little bit. We're maybe wondering how we can bundle it. So I kind of threw this in last minute, and that's my way of making an excuse that says, if this does not work, don't blame me. So I'm not sure. I'm going to move a thing. Can you see a Windows VM now?
Yeah, all good.
You can. Awesome. Check
Gosh, you've been
this out.
spending a lot. Minus £13,000.
It's not. Look at the decimal place. Plug.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can see it now.
Right.
Sorry.
Check this out. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Look at printer. Like it? Yeah.
Like
I'm going to do that. And my good old fashioned friend up there, paper cut, has just clicked up. Okay. And then I'm going to do something completely else. I'm going to, this is going to take me a little minute, guys. So speak amongst yourselves. Maybe hum, Ben. Could you do that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of elevator music, but maybe I could just tell.
Think of elevator music. That's a
yeah,
good thing.
I was gonna try and put some elevator music on it, but then I thought maybe we should do dad jokes to fill in the time. But
You reckon?
yeah, I heard a good one the other day. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No, as that happens.
Okay.
All right, but no, you can. Is it?
No,
is
no,
it
no.
Going to
It's
get me in
fine.
trouble?
No, you carry on. You wanted me to fill the space, but if you're not willing...
I liked it. I liked it. I tell you why I want you to fill the space is because I'm just trying to connect my creaky old iPad to my Macintosh, so you can see it. So it's a creaky iPad connecting to a very creaky MacBook by a creaky operator. So it should be here now, and let's take a look at this. All right, so I click print, right? And if we take a look at this, I'm just signed into folder. I could have signed in with you right there and all that kind of good stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my prints, and you'll see that the file that I just printed has just popped up. And I could say, all right, thanks very much. So it might be the wrong file. I've probably opened the wrong one. And I've got a piece of paper in front of me. Now, my iPad is a little thicker than your average piece of paper. I will give you that. But take a look at this. What am I going to do? Ooh, I'm going to... let's do some drawing, and I'm going to scribble on it, and then actually I might annotate it if I want to. Yeah, you see I can do that. Hello. Yep. What else might I do? I really like this. This is kind of cool. Let me close the keyboard because I might want to decide that actually that task is done. And then what I might decide to do is share it if I really want to, which we could talk about. If you've done all that, that's good. I could share it just like I said that. I might decide that I'm going to file it. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to flatten all those annotations. That's good. I'm going to put it there. And then I'm going to close the document. Okay. And I'm going to save it, and I'm going to save and upload that content. And then I'm going to decide actually that I would like to move it because I'd like to file it. And I want to stick that because it's an invoice in my invoices folder. There we go, move there. Okay. So if you think about this super quick thing, what I've done is I've taken that process of actually printing stuff. That's me moving my iPad around. Thanks very much. That's cool. And then I'm going to sign out just what I'm talking about, actually, maybe. Well, maybe I'm not. There we go. All right. I've taken the print process and I've quite merrily turned that into a digital thing. I've used a file print process in terms of the way that we've always used it. I've tracked it within paper cut. So let's take a quick look at that as well. So I can kind of see exactly.
A really key important bit is the fact it's being tracked through paper cut as well.
It's being tracked through paper cut. So let me just try and fire that up. There you go. So let's take a look. Yeah, that's helpful.
Always when you're doing a demo, always.
That's what I'm doing a demo. Let's do it natively. So you know you can kind of see where I'm going with it. There we go. I'm going to go to my keyboard and I'm going to go like this. Yeah. All right, and let's take a look here because you saw my client was catching me up. Okay, yeah, and of course I've printed and I'm going to look for the jobs that went through printer. There we are. We're just going to take a look. And guys, this isn't rocket science. You probably know more about paper cut than I actually do. But we can get the idea. I just printed it. There it goes. There's a demo invoice. I've applied a minimal cost to it because maybe I want to track this as a reseller, because if we actually say to the user, hey, I tell you what, you're still printing, you're using our paper cut volume, you know who printed what, you know when it went to, you can track the outcome of that through the folder application itself. So you can scribble on it, share it, fold it, stick it in your jeans pocket, do whatever we might want to do. And commercially, tell you what, Mr. Customer, will maintain that for a lightweight click charge, lot lower than your average color click, but it's got margin in it, and of course we don't need to service and support it. You know, so I just think that maybe this is an idea we've addressed before, but it might be kind of cool to be able to put that in there, and we can apply rules and do other things with it. So I just quite like the idea. I don't know what you thought, Pat, but I quite liked it. Yeah. So, you know, this thing, and the best bit for me is, do you get the link?
Oh God.
My old friend Paper Cut. Get it, friends? See? Yes. Right. Okay.
I do love the obscure nature of your presentations, Damien. I really do.
You do? Yeah. All right. Okay. There you go. Paper cut. Get it? Right. Okay. What else? So guys, that's just a little bit of an idea. I kind of slid that in there yesterday because it sort of begins to round that process. It doesn't sort of, it definitely begins to round that process out. When I'm talking to my customers, they've got print infrastructure. I want to make myself relevant. I want to make my process relevant. So let's talk about that. That's digital print, nothing coming out of paper. You wouldn't ordinarily be able to score revenue or action from it. It's hitting something where the customer can do the type of tasks that they do on paper. I can scribble on it.
Can I just say as well that you can do that from anywhere as well, don't you, right?
That's right. Yeah. If you want to take a look at exactly where and exactly how, take a look at the old stuff. But it's in your pocket on Android, iOS, Mac, web, Windows, all that good stuff. And we're going to take that a stage further. Okay. So that was an aside. I hope nobody minds me doing it. And they're all probably sat there raising their eyebrows going, oh, shut up, TV. But you know, we've done it anyway.
Either that or rubbing their hands together going, wow, this is a brand new revenue stream that we didn't think about previously.
Well, at the end, the secret bit, we're going to talk about exactly what that looks like. Okay. All right. Because that's kind of right. Don't steal my thunder. Anyway, right. And we're off again. What else? Okay. There we go. So we are going to talk about Captur, and I'm going to hit something straight on here, guys. It is a capture engine. We're going to talk about what that looks like and why that looks like it in a little moment. But, you know, Mr. Hart, bless him, is always telling me that people will look at me and go, oh, no, not another document capture, not another document management application. Okay. And in a sense, that is correct. You know, why reinvent the wheel? There's a lot of these things out there. But what I really want to try and say to you is, if you spend a couple of years looking at a product as clever as Folder, and you also spend time looking at document capture and management applications all the time, you can start to see that there would be places that you would kind of think, well, we could improve upon that, or we could do something different. And so to say don't reinvent the wheel actually says, well, no, but what about improving on it? What about improving on it both technically and commercially and from a market perspective? And that's kind of really where we are with Folder. It surprised me exactly how smart I think this thing is and where it fits in that chain. So I think we'll go take a look at it. Okay, so let's take a look at Captur, and let me just try and pick through all the good stuff that we've got kind of going on right here. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. All right. So I'm just going to use the web front end right now. You guys should be able to see me logging into the Folder front end. That's cool. So I'm just going to sign in. Okay, guys. And as we've said, as I sign into this, I've got a lot of folders and stuff going on here because I'm testing and playing and doing a whole bunch of stuff. But I can show you signing into a user where they only have access to their prints folder, for example, or their home directories, or, you know, much more specific. But as you'd imagine, I'm playing with a whole bunch of stuff here. And if you look back across all of I could have done that the easy way, by the way. I could have just gone to invoices. There you go. would have been faster, wouldn't it? If we take a look at these documents, okay, and you have a watch of our last folder, proper true folder webinar, it was where we introduced this remarkable thing to be able to add metadata, okay, to be able to actually add contextual information into documents or files. They don't have to be documents. We even did it with an MP3 file, I seem to remember in that webinar, to documents or files wherever they lay. So that's the ability for me to take a look at this document, thanks very much, and then decide actually that I can choose what that supplier name actually is if I might want to. I could give it an invoice number, a purchase order number, but then I could bring these down and I could start to put things like approval statuses, whether they've gone through a process. You know, I can add contextual data. And Folder is unique in its ability to do that regardless of where the document is. And that becomes really important. It means that organizations can start to talk about applying ISO to their document processes. It means they can start to drive workflows. It means they can start to search documents in certain criteria. So you might have a workflow, for example, where quotes for customers become contracts with customers only by changing a status on a customer, you know, actions level or something like that. And this is for information that is not necessarily within the content of the document. It's not necessarily in the file name. So like I say, the fee earner who's using something, the client matter code, the SAGE reference code, all of those things that are not included on documents or even in the text or body of them, you could apply. Now, of course, this is all great, and it's a unique thing, and it's a core part of the Folder product, which is already very, very disruptive in price terms. And it means it can really be considered along the lines of digital asset management and even document management and possibly even content management to some degree. But the obvious question comes, well, do I have to populate these values all on my own? And so Captur, which is the kind of reason we are actually here. Captur has been built and included into the Folder appliance. It is an option to buy it. It's not included in the standard license cost, and there's a reason for that. But it is already built into the build of the system. So anyone who's played with Folder already will know that firstly, we offer it on a hardware appliance, so you can just plug the darn thing in, or you can simply spin it up as a virtual machine. You don't need to install anything, and Captur is already included. So if you think about that from an install perspective, normally with the Captur application, you've got databases, Windows services, and all that kind of good stuff. With Captur, you just turn it on. It's the easiest capture engine ever to install. So it was really smart to think of it from that perspective, but then it was even more kind of smart to think, right, okay, let's build the capture engine to work really, really well. So here's one I kind of started earlier. Because what you can see is I've got my document, but let's take a look. Normally with capture engines, I would need to, you know, bring a sample into a capture area and, you know, follow the process. With this, if you remember, I actually moved a document earlier directly into AP. So I could say to somebody in invoices, hey, I've got this invoice this morning. I'd really like you to template it, please. So I can look actually on my live system. I can actually use that to create my templates. And here's my template. I can do all kinds of things from here. You can see that this field here is just looking for this value. So I know that this is an invoice. Behind that, I've got the supplier name listed behind, and I'm kind of able to, and I'll come back into this. I can do this the easy way just by typing the text, or I can make it more resilient using things like regular expression and stuff. And that becomes really important in a moment. And then I can do the usual zonal OCR stuff around hunting around fields. And I can do all kinds of clever stuff around markers. You can see that these marker values, they can move, and then the text boxes are linked to them. And actually, this capture engine works on scale rather than just on the usual, more standard approach of just using the location on the page. Because that means I can start to leverage the Folder mobile app camera. If you've seen us do stuff with Folder before, you'll know that we were taking pictures of documents and then making them searchable on the content. But now I can take pictures of documents and leverage the camera to use the templates in there to populate or understand what's on those documents rather than just having content searchable. But for anyone, I don't know who is on the call. I think we've got some techies. I think we've got some non-techies. But if there's anyone out there that has ever had to design capture templates, then I just wanted to give a really simple example of how powerful this thing is. So anyone who's done line item extraction in something like invoices will know how difficult this is. So I'm actually going to do this live. This is slightly terrifying, but here we go. You can see that I've just drawn a box around that table. Okay, and I now have this lovely unnamed zone. I'm going to make it bigger so you can kind of see everything that's going on, because that makes it easier. I'm just going to call this table, could call it whatever I want. And normally in there I'd have to put different lines and separators and stuff, but I want it to know to start just here. There we go, that's the quantity. Okay, and I want it to finish up when it finds this thing here, you know. So I kind of want to link those two together. So there we go. And terminator zone is going to be the table in. There we go. So now that's that. And I now actually have 7 columns, 6, 7. So rather than trying to draw them in, I'm literally just going to tell Folder where those columns begin and end. Okay. Now, I've also got the logic to be able to manage multi-line instances by having different iterators and all this kind of complicated stuff. But you can see that's how quick that is. And I'm going to be able to say, I'm just going to do this really quick. Do you know what the first one is? The quantity. Okay. And the second one is the description. And this is me actually linking this stuff up to the fields that are actually there. I can't remember them all, but there we go. Okay. So that's it. I can create new templates. Now, I could even, if I wanted to, dump another document into that template, just draw it around, create another copy, and away it goes. It really is that simple to use, and it can do all kinds of really powerful stuff. In fact, this is a little nerdy. I know Mr. Hart is telling me not to go too technical, but this is a bit of a review of a capture engine, so it's gonna be. I've never seen this done before, and if anybody else out there can tell me otherwise, but we very often land up with complicated capture things. So I might want to get just a particular value out of a whole bunch of text, like for example, the third line in a contract or something like that, right? So I can actually do that. I'm going to say that I want to iterate on this, but you know what? I only want the last line. Can you see the purple highlights changing? Yeah. And I could actually say, well, no, actually, I only want the third word in a paragraph. Folder have actually built this thing to the extent that I can start to navigate around paragraphs or lines or pages or documents. Is actually something quite impressive. And let's take a look at this. I've got barcode recognition here, and you can see that I have got, okay, a barcode, but I'm looking for the phrase 11111. And I can actually start to have all of them or only one of them. I'm getting the text, I'm getting this text, I'm getting that text, and I can actually pick which of those instances that I want and move around with exactly that piece. So I could limit that to the first or the last. And this is all included in the folder NFR. It's really quite remarkable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, do you know what? We've got those invoice documents that I moved around there, okay, and they're in this share. So what I'm going to do, all right, is I'm just going to say, well, now I've got those capture templates. I'm going to ask my guy here to throw them onto the system. There we go, and I'm going to save those changes. And now they're applied. And every time a document hits the system, they will be run through that template and they'll be recognized and applied. A little bit slow running through in my Mac, but there we go. And just because now they're already there, I'm just going to turn that on and they're there. Now that's running now forever. It's happy, as you can see, it's now going to run on a schedule. Every time a new document is going to land in there, it's going to do its thing and away we go. And it becomes kind of searchable. Let's just do a little bit of a tidy up and see what happens right here. Here we go. Can you see? There's all that stuff populated for me, all the ones that I asked it to. And this is really smart as well because I did line item extraction through this whole piece, okay? And it's grabbing those values. There's my unit price based on another template that I've applied. There we go. And I'm going to say, well, I just want to see the table, please. And there it is. I've got line item extraction, full tables. I can match those tables. I can search on them. I can do just about anything that I might like through that capture engine. Now let's take another little minute about this, okay? Because don't forget that with folder, I can connect it to any type of storage. And the truly unique piece about all of this is, okay, I don't need to move those documents out of their locations to run them through a capture engine. So for any capture process that I've ever seen, whether it's from an MFD front end, you know, like the Drive product, the Square 9 product, the AutoStore product, eCopy, anything like that, those files need to be moved into a particular location, run through a process, and then written back out to that application. Folder has the ability to retrospectively create a search on all of the content on all of the documents in any part of your storage. And now it has the ability to retrospectively apply field information and template information into documents wherever they lay. Now let's just think about that. Because let's say I am in a legal practice, for example, and I've got a ton of documents. And just for speed, I'm not going to open another document, but I'm going to show you some of the cool things. We have the ability to do stuff like this. Folder have built into this a series of regular expression searches already. So if I simply click this one and add that, you'll see that it's already created a zone with this that's going to go off and look at the postcodes. I don't need to tell it where on the document that is. I've got it looking for the last instance of postcodes, and away it goes, you can see, okay? But I could create that to look for a case reference number, a client ID, a registration number, a VIN number, an insurance reference number, anything with a structure. So I could, if I wanted to, point folder at a directory of tens, hundreds of thousands of pages of scanned or digital information and have it go look for a case reference number. And suddenly all the documents that have a reference number are now searchable on that reference number through folder without moving them. And the best bit, guys, is it's in my jeans pocket. Okay. I think that's pretty cool.
Nicely tied in there, Damo. Very nice.
Do you like that? Do you like that? Yeah. Yeah. This is why I invite my friends. There we go. Yeah. Kind of cool, right? Yeah. So really, really remarkable stuff, quite frankly. Now,
want to just quickly, Damo, I think I already know the answer to this one, but we've been asked a question regarding integration with Sims in schools.
Yep.
Do you want to just have a quick chat around that? I mean, I know that Sims is interesting because of the licensing and the way that it's held and integrations into it. But any thoughts with regards to anything that this could potentially be included with, or
okay? Well, there's a number of different things that we need to apply here. So, for example, we are now using Folder to index particular documents within our global search ECM platform. So certain high value documents remain in locations where only Square 9 licenses can see them, and certain documents are then made searchable to Folder simply by exposing the share. And we've done projects with Folder where we are looking at web dev locations and stuff for other ECM applications. So we have experience with Sims internally. I'm pretty sure we could probably look at that and understand how that works. But I guess what I'm going to is, if we can see the image files regardless of what Sims wants to do, then we could probably still make those documents searchable. You could kind of find out about that. And one of the powerful pieces of Folder is, of course, that the licenses are disruptive. We're going to come into that. That's really important. Nice. But I'm just about to go into something else,
go for it,
which takes this to the next level of mental. Okay. So we are now at a point with Folder where we are able to connect to just about any kind of storage, just about anywhere, through any kind of device. You just see me bouncing around and printing documents to it and then playing with them and moving around on an iPad. I'm now on a Mac here. I can be on a Windows machine. This is kind of cool. This is my Mac client, and you can see here that I can run a Folder search from my Mac client without actually needing to open the web browser. I do have the web browser open, but you don't need it. And you can see I can use the fully bound searching component in there if I want to. I could show you that happening in Windows as well if I wanted to. I'm now able to apply metadata to those documents. I'm also able to apply templates to those documents and leave them where they lay, which is truly remarkable. Please take a remember session back against the ability to share documents as well. All of this is cool, but the next question, okay, says, well, all right, but if I do approve something like an invoice, if I do a job like that, I'd really like to be able to apply a workflow process to it. I'd really like to be able to get someone to say, hey, look, I'll approve that one, or send the data out to an ERP, or connect it to an API, or, you know, all these technical nerd speak things that you want to do if you've approved a process. And that isn't a function within Folder. We don't have the ability within Folder to do that because that's not what it does as yet. Don't know about the future, but right now that's not part of it. But anybody who knows as well should know that we have a little tool called Square 9. Okay. Now, what's gone on through this process is we now have the ability to connect folder locations to the Square 9 Global Capture workflow engine. That's a mouthful, isn't it? And whilst we were doing that, so this is a simple approval process as an example. Okay, I'm not going to go into workflows and stuff, but we've printed a document. It's been tracked by Papercut. It's gone to a device. It's been annotated and scribbled. Some of that's been flattened in. And the user decided it was an invoice, and they decided to throw it into the invoices folder. Folder has then classified the document, extracted all the information, and Global Capture in this instance has decided somebody needs to approve that that document. This is super great. It's kind of do you know what? I'm going to do it in Windows, guys. I think where I've left everything sat. There we go. Let's just do it in here. Okay. I'm going to log in. Apologies, I've left it dormant and it's thrown me out. So there you go. It told me I had a document. There it is. And I could, if I want to, go into the document. I'm not sure which of all the ones I dumped in there this one is. And you can see that it's going to fire it up. And if I want to, I could use the document data and everything. But you know what? I'm going to just decline that one because I don't like it. And it's going to finish it up, and my approval process has finished. So now I can extend the global capture workflow capabilities. And again, we've got a load of content on that, guys. Validation portals, data lookups, data exports, all that good stuff happening from a workflow tool without the need for its own OCR engine at that point. But because we're using global capture, because we're select tech, because we're clever, okay, we can do this. So let's take a final look to close the loop. Okay, I'm going to log in to my old friend. And I'm going to come into this printers thing. Now, if you were on one of our WebExes earlier on in the series, you'll have seen us talking about tracking workflows. And if you did, you'll know that I have this talk track around why it's kind of really important to track workflows and what we've decided to do and so on and so forth, and how we're moving that around. And I think that's today, isn't it? And that was the administrator that logged in, and it was charged to the admin account, and it had 2 pages. And if you look at this, it was still set to pending because I closed it out. This one was set to pending. If I decided to approve one, it could pull through the purchase order name and everything else as well. We are tracking validated workflow in Papercut. So if I now think about my workflow process, I am delivering documents into folder via print or via email or via scanning, including the Papercut embedded gateway that we now sell. So I can manage all of those processes. It means that I can track that ePrint or that workflow usage, and I can get, if I wanted to, revenue or value from documents that never see paper. And I can pull all of that reporting and scripting into my Papercut engine, and I can start to, you know, track departmental usage, all of the good stuff. Think about that presentation you used to do about uncontrolled costs, uncontrolled print, uncontrolled data. That's now happening, but you are able to talk to customers about stuff that they are not going to print. I'm then able to move around and put metadata and apply templates to documents without ever having to move them, which is really quite remarkable. And then when a customer says, well, I'd like an approval portal or an escalation system or something else, you create a search within folder that shows documents that meet that criteria. They're automatically picked up, thrown into the global Captur workflow. You've got the web portals, approve, decline, forward, do whatever level you want to do. And that outcome is tracked within Papercut to close the loop. It's really, really, from a technical perspective or from a product perspective, there's an awful lot of uniques in there, I think.
Absolutely.
Okay, right. So I'm going to move some stuff, but don't leave a very tired VM sitting on its own. So just to summarize, okay. Why would you use folder? Why have we reinvented the wheel? Okay, first thing, it's easy. The Captur engine is part of the appliance. If you turn on the appliance and you've got the appropriate license key, the Captur engine is there. So from an installation perspective, there isn't a, I need a server or a SaaS thing or this, and this. I don't need to move all the files. I don't need to install SQL. I don't need to mess around. There are still times where we will recommend that you do and you utilize the full Square 9 engine, but most of the time it's super easy. It works on anything. So I've used it on an iPad today. I've used it on a Mac. We've used it in Windows. You can use it on an Android device. You can use it anywhere. The big one in the middle, don't move stuff, improve stuff. So endless amounts of storage, unlimited storage. Think about it. How much storage do you get when you sign up for 365 or Google or Amazon Web Services? You've got terabits of space. What you don't want to do is have to move everything out of where it should be just to facilitate our desire to capture it and classify it. And the big one on the end there, the disruptive price point. You know, I think it's an eyebrow raiser from a technical perspective, from a product perspective. Wow. But from a commercial perspective, it goes properly dancing fairies any second now.